Got a great question in via email about ways to save on a custom shelf. Ordering custom shelving can be pretty expensive. There's an easy way for you to make this a simple DIY project and build it exactly the size you want it.
Now it's time for the Neighborhood Connection.
All right, guys, today we're going to build a floating shelf, and this is an easy project. And the cool thing is you can make it the size you want. First, let's talk about the wood. I'm just starting out with a simple 2x8, something you can get from your home center or lumberyard. Really easy. Now, one thing when you're building a floating shelf like this, 8 inches is about as far as you want to go, because if you get any deeper, you put a lot of torque, and it's going to take some hefty brackets you're going to have to put in the wall, which makes this for a bigger project. So what I did is I jumped on Amazon, I picked up some inexpensive basic iron holders here that'll hold the shelf up to the wall. And then we'll start out with this 2x8 first. Now, what I like to do with this is you got a couple options here. You can just sand this thing up, call it good, but I want to square these edges off and make it look a little bit more like what you'd see on Etsy or one of those other websites where you can get these pre-made. So the first thing I'm going to do is clamp this to my 4x4 here so I have it held up. I'm going to use my planer and put a nice square edge on this. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can run it down a table saw, or you can use a hand planer and do the same thing. Hand tools will get the job done. This is just a little faster. All right, that gave me the nice square edge I was looking for. Now I'm just going to ease this a little bit because this dimensional lumber, which is hemlock, really likes to splinter on these hard edges. So that way it doesn't splinter on when you get a finish on it. So I'm going to hit it with the sandpaper real quick and ease that edge. All right, I'm really happy with that front edge. Gives it a nice natural look, and we've got just a slight eased edge on this. Now let's see, let's make a decision here. I like this piece here, the top. Little sanding, that'll look really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here on the bottom side and the back of this. I want to fit our brackets on here first so we kind of know where these are going to go. Now here's a little secret while you're doing it. For something like this, it's about 34 inches wide. I like to do 3 of them on it. And if you can do this where you mount them on the studs, it's the easy way to do it. So what I like to do is start in here and center these up on the studs or where actually the mounting holes are. So if we actually sit here with this and center line these, you're going to miss them with this. So what you want to do is get these holes where our 16 on center is, and then we're not going to have to use as many hollow wall anchors. It's going to make for a sturdier shelf. So if you mount this into it, you can put a lot more weight on it, and that makes it really easy. So I'm going to come in about 1 inch on either side, about right there. And then I think from there to there, 16 on center, we're good. So I'm just going to mark this out on here so we know where these go. We don't have to do any more modifications to them. All right, we'll get those out of the way. Next up here, we have a decision to make. Do you want to just put a clear coat on it or do you want to paint it? That's up to you. Here, I'm just going to hit this with some quick sandpaper so we can put a clear finish on it to make it look natural. All right, I've got that sanded up, so I'm pretty happy with the finish on that. The bottom side looks pretty good. We're not going to mess with that right now. So we're going to flip this back over and let's mount the hardware on it. I'm going to do the finish on it so that way it's good to go. So what we do is come in here and we want to flush this up with the back of this right here. So we're nice and flush because that's going to go right up against the wall and give us the most strength that we can. I'm going to do this right here. Just get that perfectly lined up against the back of that. And I like to use this thicker 2x4 material because it's a little more dimensionally stable. If you make this out of like a 1x pine board, it can warp around and move on you. So it could look a little weird 6 months from now as that wood ages. And then always make sure when you get these kits, they've got a couple different lengths of screws for putting into the wall so it matches. You can put that right to the top, which causes a big problem. All right, guys, we've got a couple options here. We can go in with a wipe-on polyurethane, or we can go with this matte polyurethane right here that's a brush on. This is a cool little color right here that we can work with, and it really keeps the blonde wood blonde on this, so it'll really kind of highlight that. And as this wood ages, you'll see it yellow a little bit as well, so you'll get some of that golden finish out of it. The nice thing about this water-based polyurethane like this is it's not really smelly, so you don't have to worry too much about it. And it dries really quick. Get that just nicely laid on here. I could have stained it dark. There's a lot of different things you can do with this, but I thought the natural color of wood would look really good. They do make a lot of the different polyurethanes you can get with the stain in them all in one. And that's another option for you as well. Now, all we have to do is let this dry. It'll hang right up on the wall. This is an easy DIY project that'll look really cool and save you a ton of money. We got a great question asking about the best way to fill in dead spots in your lawn. Let me show you a quick and easy way to make those spots green again. All right, guys, we had a great question come in about how to repair your lawn, and I'm going to show you the easy way to do it. And that's called running down to your home center and getting some sod. But I'm going to show you the right way to do this fix, because you can't just roll it out. You want to do a little prep first. So I've got some good soil here right now. This was pretty torn up. It was gravelly down here, so I wanted to have something good so the sod could grow. So the first thing I'm going to do here is get a straight line so I can use that straight line of the sod and get that dialed in. So I'm going to take the shovel and make a nice hard cut here so I can bring the sod up to it, and we'll prep this up. So first thing, let's get the shovel out, and I'm going to be hopping on this and just cut a nice good line. All right, guys, we got a lot of gravel down here, so I'm going to take a little more of this out of here. There's no way healthy grass is going to grow in this. Probably why it died to begin with right there. All it takes is just a little shovel. Make sure we get all that gravel out of there. Some of this raked out here. I want to have a nice ledge right here so that sod can go right down there and be on the same plane. All right, this is where I go in and I try to really rough cut this sod in to see how we do. And then we can kind of mess around underneath this to make sure we get it built up right. You can tell this sod was sitting at the home center for a couple days. And if you go pick it up on a Sunday, it's probably been there since Friday. So something to think about. If you're going to tackle this project, I do it on a Saturday morning. You'll have fresher, greener sod. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I love using drywall knives for this because I can use this just to cut our radius in here. It'll give us a good look. And if you tear it, you're going to fight everything else under there. It's going to look really rough. So drywall knife is a good secret for this. All right, now any bumps you have in here are going to show through. So it's really good just to kind of run your hand across here. I got a low spot there, little low spot here, another little bit of a low spot in here. So I'm going to just peel this half back. Just use my hands to kind of get this nicely leveled out. All right, guys, when you push down on this, you want this to be just nice and a smooth level between all the different layers. That way you don't have a bump when you go over it with the lawnmower. Now I can just fill in these little areas with a little bit of this good soil. Mother Nature will do the rest. Now I got another spot over here where I added a sprinkler. Let's go fix that one. All right, guys, I did this sprinkler a few weeks ago, and I'm just not happy how this old sod was coming back in. Now that this is getting consistent water, it's coming back, but it's going to take a long time to heal up. Much better to use some sod to do it. I'm going to go about this one a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do is come in here with the sod as my template and just kind of dig a spot for it. So I want to come back here. Just going to use this whole roll just like this. So I'm going to cut around it here with my tool. And this drywall cutter is really great for this. Why these drywall knives work so well is when you're cutting through the roots, but there's that mesh in the back of this, which is just kind of a plastic mesh. It'll rip right through it, so it makes it easier. We definitely want to get that layer of sod that was part of this taken off of there, because that's going to just fight with the new stuff. So it's good to get. All right, so I've got that prepped where I like it. Let's roll this back and see how we do. All right, now I'm just going to take some soil and fill in any little gaps that I have around here, because that will just grow right back together. All right, guys, now the biggest thing you can do for this is add a ton of water and really keep this wet. Make sure you check it every day so it doesn't dry out. In a couple weeks, this is going to look really good. In about a month, it should be about the same color as your lawn that you had. That's how you repair this with sod.